Now it's 6 on Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45. Stokes County authorities are at a home north of King right now after 4 bodies were found inside. We'll tell you what we know so far. Also, the house belonging to the Winston-Salem fire chief went up in flames this morning with his wife and son inside. We'll tell you what happened. And work continues on the Greensboro Urban Loop. Find out where the project stands. Happening right now, a family of 4 found shot to death in Stokes County. Authorities say their bodies were found inside a home on Ralph Boyles Road that is off Highway 66 northeast of King. Our Katie husband is live at the scene. So Katie, what can you tell us so far?
Hi, Cheryn. Well, authorities told us earlier this afternoon that the call came in about 11:50 from the grandparents of the victims here at Ralph Boyles Road. Now, the victims have been identified as Colton Tarpley and Amanda Tarpley, the parents, and their children, Colton and Charlie. The kids had an early dismissal, which prompted the grandparents to go over to the house. When they arrived, they saw the vehicles in the driveway, so they knocked on the door. They were able to go inside, which is where they called 911. Deputies arrived and found the 4 victims with gunshot wounds. Sheriff Mike Marshall says it appears to be a murder-suicide.
I can't speculate on what could have led up to it. Once the investigation is complete, we'll have more information to probably shed some light on what the circumstances were.
Neighbors we spoke to say they were a very nice family, and this is the kind of neighborhood where each neighbor looks out after one another. Now, as you can see behind me, police are still on the scene, but when more details come in, we will update you. Reporting live in Stokes County, Katie Husband, Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
Rockingham County Sheriff's detectives need your help solving a murder case that is 3 years old today. Officials say someone shot and killed Troy and LaDonna French at their home in Reedsville back on February 4th, 2012. Their daughter was also hurt in the attack. Deputies have not made an arrest. If you know anything about this case, you are asked to call the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office 336-634-3232. The Winston-Salem Fire Department responded to a call this morning at the home of one of their own. A captain's house went up in flames with his wife and son inside. They escaped but were hospitalized. Kristen Drummond explains what happened.
I came out, the whole house was on fire, flames were shooting out.
I heard Gary screaming for his wife, and his wife was then crawling out from underneath the flames on the front porch.
Neighbors saw the blaze that engulfed Winston-Salem Fire Department Captain Gary Poplin's home.
His son was in the driveway just already crying and distraught.
It happened just after 7 Wednesday morning. In Winston-Salem, Kristen Drummond, Time Warner Cable News.
There's no word on the cause. Now, the Winston-Salem Professional Firefighters Association has set up an account at Emergency Responders Credit Union in Winston-Salem. It's under WSPFFA Poplin Family Fund if you would like to make a donation to the family. Work continues on the Greensboro Urban Loop. This is a project aimed at improving traffic flow inside of the city. There are 4 phases remaining that will complete the final 15 miles of this 44-mile-long loop. Our Elena O'Connell is live along Battleground Avenue with the latest on the project. Elena.
Well, Cheryn, the project, which is just beyond the trees behind me, started nearly 20 years ago. There's still about 5 years remaining before the entire project is complete. I spoke to a nearby restaurant owner today who's been a part of the project since the very beginning. The very first planning meeting for the Urban Loop was held in the mid-1990s. So far, he couldn't be happier with how plans are unfolding. DOT says the entire project should be completed no later than 2022. Reporting live in Greensboro, Elena O'Connell, Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
High Point has made changes to its core city homebuyer assistance program that leaders hope will spur applications. The city launched the $120,000 program in November, but has yet to receive any applications. Homes $200,000 or less are now eligible in a 12-square-mile area.
Expanded to the entire core city, sort of simplified it. People don't really have to worry about whether it's one zone or another zone. It's either you're in or you're out.
Home buyers can apply for loans from the city of up to $7,500 to use for down payment assistance or closing cost. Loans come with an interest rate of 3% at a term of 5 years. They are deferred for the first 3 years after purchase. Governor Pat McCrory will be giving the biennial State of the State address this evening. McCrory gave his first State of the State address 2 years ago, just 2 months into his time as governor. Now, 2 years later, people are already watching and listening to McCrory's priorities as he gets set to run for re-election in 2016. Lawmakers say they're hopeful. The governor touches on many topics during his speech and gives details on how he would like to see the state move forward.
I would expect and would appreciate him describing all the positive changes that have been made since he's become governor, which are many and substantial.
I'm hoping to hear, number one, that he's going to be pushing to increase our Medicaid program to pick up on what the feds have done in terms of saying what we can do with Medicaid.
It's expected that the governor will talk about jobs, touch on his efforts to secure funding for transportation projects and teacher pay. We'll have a wrap-up of his speech tonight at 11 o'clock. And still to come here at 6 o'clock, our look back at the Dan River coal ash spill continues, how legislation is dictating how companies store and move the coal ash.
Another shot of cold and wind will arrive for Thursday. We'll let you know what to expect as we wrap up this work week, plus your weekend forecast. That's all coming up in your Weather on the Ones.
We continue our look back at the coal ash spill that sent tens of thousands of tons of coal ash into the Dan River last year. In the months following the spill, the state was not only focused on cleanup, but legislation dictating how companies like Duke Energy store and move coal ash. Our Andrew Sorensen shows us where the rules, both state and federal, stand now.
Through some people's eyes, 60 years worth of ash flooding into the Dan River was the climax of coal ash's story arc, not the beginning. In Charlotte, Andrew Sorensen, Time Warner Cable News.
Your sports is next here at 6 o'clock. National Signing Day dominates the sports landscape. Mike checks in on the schools and the players. Plus, a Triangle High School went on lockdown today after an online threat. That's in our Carolina Minute.
Wednesday was National Signing Day, and Wake Forest announced they'll welcome 23 new additions to the Black and Gold. Head coach Dave Clawson with his second recruiting class with Wake Forest. Now, this year's class includes 13 players on offense, 9 on defense, and 1 on special teams. They also come from 10 different states, along with the Washington, D.C. area. A busy night of college basketball and more on National Signing Day coming away at 11 o'clock. I'm Mike Solarte, and that's sports at 6.
It was a mixed finish for the stocks. We will have that update with our crew from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And right after this quick break, Monte's back with your full Weather on the Ones forecast.
All right, 6:21 here on this, mild evening. We still got 50 over in Winston-Salem. Live look here out toward Winston-Salem from one of our tower cams. And you can see that current temperature is still holding at 50. 47, though, in Greensboro, 49, Burlington, 49, and Lexington, 48, currently in Asheboro, 49. Current temperature in Mount Airy, Reidsville as well, 48 in Statesville. So a decent day for us today, even up in the mountains, not bad. Some skiers hitting the slopes. App Mountain, 38 degrees, and live Doppler looking nice and quiet here at this hour. And that should continue through tonight, despite rain slipping south and east, and also a cold front approaching from the north and west. We're going to kind of miss out on both systems. This rainmaker, again, kind of staying well to our south, but the front that's coming through the Ohio River Valley will actually dry out as it moves this way, so we're not expecting any moisture, but we'll see more clouds tomorrow morning. And then behind the front, look for winds and colder weather to really develop for tomorrow afternoon. It's not going to be as windy as it was Monday, but we're still going to see some wind gusts up around 30, 35 miles an hour here for tomorrow, despite a lot of sunshine, and that strong northwest wind will really hold the temperatures down quite a bit. 54 our high today, the average high temperature 50, 26 was the morning low. Tonight in the 30s, but tomorrow we're going to struggle to hit 40, so it'll be a good 15 degrees or so cooler, or colder, I should say, than today. Plus factor in the wind, which will be gusting, around 30, 35. It's going to feel like the 20s to 30s for much of the day. And by Friday morning, very cold weather as high pressure settles in. I think we'll be in the teens here for Friday morning. But once we start to warm up Friday, we'll see gradual warming through the weekend. In fact, by Saturday and Sunday, our high should be well into the 50s. Might even see 60. We'll flirt with it, it looks like, on Sunday. So again, temperatures tonight not so bad in the 30s, but notice here 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we're still in the 30s, and then Friday morning, again, expecting some teens before we start that gradual warming process. Now, the mountains could pick up a little bit of snow tonight and early tomorrow. Will be a lot. Nonetheless, great ski conditions should continue for you if you're headed up that way for the weekend. Out toward the coast, maybe some rain, especially for the Outer Banks southward. Then we're expecting 50s and dry weather for Friday and Saturday. So for tonight, 34, increasing clouds. Going to be a windy day tomorrow, especially by mid-morning. Northwest wind coming in around 20 to 30, and again gusting up to 35. 41 for your high temperature again for tomorrow, then 44 Friday, and that'll be after seeing our low of 18 Thursday night, Friday morning. But 50s for the weekend, even early next week. 55 expected here on Monday. Good chance for some rain Monday, then we should clear things out and cool it off a little bit, but thankfully nothing all that cold. We'll be in the upper 40s to around 50 by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. That's your 7-day forecast, Cheryn. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Monte. And here's tonight's Carolina Minute. Authorities are searching for 2 men in connection with a shooting involving a Durham police car. 1 bullet hit the officer's car. Several others damaged homes in the area. Investigators say the officer was not injured. He did not return fire. Heritage High School was put on code red status for 90 minutes this morning because of the tweet here. Police say a 14-year-old boy living in Florida tweeted that, "I'm shooting up Heritage." There was also a picture of 2 teens showing guns on the same Twitter page. Classes resumed in Wake Forest after the lockdown was lifted. The NAACP and Board Together Moral Movement supporting a group to expand Medicaid in North Carolina. Federal funding to expand Medicaid was part of the Affordable Care Act, but North Carolina declined the money. During a news conference today, the NC Left Me Out tour asked the General Assembly to accept that federal money. Legislators say they declined expansion because the system is broken. These stories are more available at any time on Time Warner Cable News. It was an all-time high for Disney. Let's get the latest on the economy now from our team on Wall Street.
I'm Diane King Hall from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Well, multiple cross currents hit the market today, making investors undecided about which direction to send stocks. In the end, they finished mixed. The Dow rose 6 points. The Nasdaq fell 11. The S&P 500 gave back 8. Shares of Disney melted up today to an all-time high, thanks to the fingerprints of Frozen on many of its business lines. From the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Some Piedmont Triad hospitals are lifting their temporary visitor restrictions. Cone Health, High Point Regional, Novant Health, and Wake Forest Baptist all plan to end visitor restrictions at all their facilities tomorrow. Officials banned visitors under the age of 18 since December 30th. This was to help control the spread of the flu. Doctors say the H3N2 influenza strain continues to circulate in the Triad, but at lower rates. They're still urging anyone with flu-like symptoms not to visit patients. Tonight on Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45, Governor Pat McCrory addresses the state in his State of the State address. Hear what's to come for North Carolina in the next 2 years tonight at 11. Finally here at 6, Southern Hospitality has apparently earned some national honors for small businesses in the Piedmont. Group discount site Groupon named Greensboro and Winston-Salem in the top 10 places across the country with the friendliest local businesses. The area placed 7 out of 10.
This part of the country is friendly. You know, this is just a nice place to live and a nice place to work, and I think that's a big factor.
Albuquerque, New Mexico topped Groupon's list. Other southern cities include Birmingham, Alabama, and Charleston, South Carolina. That is our time here at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is next. Hope to see you back here at 11 on ABC 45. You can find us anytime, though, on Time Warner Cable News.